We have some things to discuss today about the co-working, your co-working, but also the co-working industry overall. Um,
Hmm.
I had this idea of discussion after we talked together, and we were talking, of course, about your co-working space, but also about many different things. So maybe let's first, could you maybe introduce yourself and your co-working space?
Okay. Hi, my name is Vidur Bansal, and I'm the founder and CEO of Workcave Coworking. Uh, it's a co-working space in Chandigarh, India, and we have 150 plus startups and members working in our spaces. And we've been creating a community of entrepreneurs, professional freelancers, and small businesses in India who are trying to scale their ventures, start new ideas, come up with interesting concepts,
Mm-mm.
and we are giving them a stage where they can share their experiences with each other.
So it's really your topic, your work to be with startups and entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, I understand.
Early stage entrepreneurs, mostly early stage entrepreneurs.
Why that choice? Why them?
So it is not a choice that I made. It is a so we are open for all kinds of businesses, but I think, Fanny, that what happens is that usually people who are just starting out, they need these co-working spaces to survive a few years till they grow out and find their own offices.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Does
And
that happen the same way where you are?
where I am, right now, it's really interesting. I'm going and working. It's really like next door, so I'm not
Oh.
doing a lot of. I'm used to walk, so I go walk to the co-working space. But now I don't walk. It's just really next door. I'm like maybe I'm a bit too lazy, but it's a good place. And actually, there where aren't a lot of freelancer. There's like two companies, like they have those booths with a door, and they're like
Yeah.
for desk. And there's one company, and there's another, a very big one. I see that with some small co-working space. Actually, they start with one big company, like 10, 15 people, employees, and they're all working there. So here in this case is they're architects, so there's a big architect
Oh.
office there.
So these people have their own space and they are also doing co-working inside their office, something like that.
Yeah, it's a co-working, so there's like a hot desk space, and there's
Oh.
private offices, and there are companies there.
Oh. So did you find your accommodation because of this space? Was it strategic that you chose a space next to a co-working
Oh yeah,
space?
yeah. Actually, so I'm a digital nomad. I travel from countries to countries, and right now I just decided that I will go to my next destination. I was thinking, okay, I need to find a place to live. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna look for good co-working space so I can go live nearby, not too
Right.
far. So I went on
100.
Google Map. I look co-working in where I'm going. I see the
Yeah.
co-working. I see the comments. Yeah, and I see what kind of comments is there. The picture are very important on Google Map. I see the picture if there's like a community, if the space looks good. what I don't like,
Yeah.
for example, is when there's no windows. Some spaces are like that. It's really inside.
Mm.
I like to have big windows. they're
Yeah,
they're
that's
hell to
so
clean. They're hell to clean, but they're pretty.
right. But daylight is important when you're working.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it gives, yes. So I
I
also
think it's
just
cultural. It's cultural. In some country, people don't like having big windows or a lot of daylight. And some other countries, some other culture, it's really important to have a lot of daylight. That's
right.
interesting.
So one of the people called me yesterday, and
Mm.
they were like, we want a place near the window. Do you have windows? So I was like, yeah, yeah, we have windows, and I sent them the picture of
Yes.
the hot desks which were near the windows. So it's a
Mm.
preference for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That made me remember one of a big post on LinkedIn with the hashtag digital nomad or working, both I think, was about a place in Bulgaria, and they were by the sea. So they had the terrace and the
Oh,
co-working was on the terrace, and you would face the
oh,
sea. I
Wow.
was like, "This is my workspace today," and very
Yeah.
Instagrammable picture of a
Yeah.
co-working space.
Yeah. And
Mm.
all this digital nomad and even COVID has led people to go to destinations where they can work out of picturesque co-working spaces.
I
Right.
think location is good, and when location, so where you are is important with the environment, etc. So if you by the sea, if you're in a very beautiful space, but you can make your own garden, you can make a garden inside, have a lot of plants. I was in a co-working
Right.
space like that. It was in the city, and where it wasn't so pretty, but the inside was very pretty, and the guy was putting plants everywhere, and it gave really a good feeling about the place,
A good feeling. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with so much
That's
plants.
true.
So let's go back to because we have a long, long list of questions. Not so long, but we have little time now. And I think I don't know you, but I think I can go a bit over time because we were late. We came in late.
Yeah.
If you need to
100%.
go
That's
at
good.
any point, you tell me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll
Great,
tell
great.
you.
So let's refocus. You were talking about your co-working space, startup, entrepreneurship, etc. But I'm sure there are many alternative, many choices. Why do people go with you? Why do they like your space? Why do they choose it?
why do people why do people like Workcave? So it's a
Yes.
very the why is very intangible. It's in the intangible things. Anybody can go and find a space, but the kind of community that we are nurturing, the kind of decisions that we make every day, I think that is what separates our space with the rest of the spaces.
Mm,
So
mm.
we let people grow. So for example, we've also segregated our spaces into calling and non-calling, right? So people who do a lot of calls, so let's say salespeople.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
I had friends like that. They were saying, I would like to go working. So they work from home. And I would
Right.
like to go working in a co-working space, but I'm calling all the time. One of my friends, he
Right.
was a English teacher. So teaching English online, he was like, okay, some
Right.
part of his work is like admin, but he cannot spend the whole day and go to a co-working space with just that. He books
Right.
his students when he can, and he needs to talk a lot. I was like, I can just
Right.
go. And if they have a private office of one person, yes, he could rent it, but it increased the rate of the rent suddenly.
Right.
So maybe he's
Right.
not interested in it. So that's smart. That's smart.
So yeah, segregating the space. Then there are times when you have to say no to people, right? Because you can't let someone who's talking very loudly sit in a quiet environment, and vice versa. So all those factors and the kind of execution that we're doing. So we have a very solid community who just wants to work out of Workcave. They don't want to go to any other space. So
Yes, so
that's
you
one
built
of the
over
things.
time. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It actually you have to nurture it over time. It just can't come right
How
in
long
a day.
have you been there?
We've been doing it for around 6 years now,
Wow,
almost 6 years.
6 years.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. We just opened our second center last year. So for the
Really?
first 4 years,
Last year?
last year. So for the first
Wow.
four and a half years, I was just doing one co-working space and just try to understand what the concept is all about.
Mm,
Yeah,
interesting. And
yeah.
why
But
did you open last year? It was like the middle of the pandemic. Some co-working space had to close, and you
so
opened a new one.
So it opened last year, but the planning had been finalized before the pandemic. In January, February, we had finalized.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it got delayed because of COVID. And
yeah,
we had to open. We knew that people will come back.
yeah.
Yeah.
The did.
So they did. They did. Yeah. So the
Nice.
community supported us throughout, and that's incredible. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all, yeah, yeah. So we have Fanny, we've opened another space not because we wanted to open it. It is because we had such an inflow of members in the first space that we could not cater to everyone.
yeah.
So that's why we opened another one. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another question was about first hires, because if you had to open another
Yeah.
one, maybe even for the first one, you had to hire some people and to delegate more and more, I guess.
Right, right. So the first people came in from acquaintances. I had a few acquaintances and friends whom I asked if they'd like to, work, and we were all in that phase where we
Mm,
were learning new things. So
mm.
people wanted to learn and they worked with me. They wanted to get an insight on how to start a business. And from then I started hiring, and hiring is a very, very crucial part because you need to have the right team and the right people around you to make it successful. You can't just do it on your own.
No,
So
I
hiring
was
and
talking
delegate.
about this, not about co-working at all, about design. But anyway, I was saying when you go alone, you go fast. When you go together, you go far. And another guy
100%.
was saying one man can build one house, but 100 men can build 1,000 houses.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly true. So
Mhm.
what do you do in terms of your hiring? How do you collaborate? Do you work on your own or do you hire?
Yeah, so I'm a freelancer. I'm working on my own. It happens that we work together with other specialists, but it's more like usually this one phase. So one freelancer has the contact with the client and they outsource a part of the work or through an agency or just through their name. Usually freelancers, their business name is their name.
Right.
Like to get a bit fancy and do something else, but usually it's our
Right.
name.
But like in your work,
Mm.
is there some part of your work that you really wish that you could hire for or delegate to? Is there any part of your work that
The first hire any freelancer does is an accountant because you cannot
is
do
it?
everything. It's a very each country has their own tax laws, etc., and keeps on updating it. It's very
Yeah.
difficult. I haven't studied at the university bookkeeping, so I know about it. I like to do analytical bookkeeping myself to check my expenses, etc., like matrix, blah blah blah.
Oh, so an accountant is the person that a freelancer needs.
Yes, or a tax advisor or something like that.
Tax advisor.
That's really
Yeah.
the first people we go to. And some people are
Yeah.
very bad with number and they delegate everything. Mm.
Right, right. Some people. So yeah. So everybody needs help. And in co-working spaces, that's one advantage that you get these tax people and you get a content writer and you get all these people under one roof.
Mm. Yeah, and some co-working space even have services like virtual office.
Virtual office, right.
Yes. Is that something you do as well, or?
So that's something that we do, and virtual office is something that person
Mm,
sitting anywhere can open an office in any state or country, and
yes.
yeah, so it's an amazing thing for startups who wish to have a presence across the country or across various countries.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is one of the services that we provide.
Yeah, that's part of it. And if you have, an accountant, people will put their official business address at your co-working space. Then if you partner with an accountant, they will work with them. Or I've seen legal advices, a
Right,
lawyer who comes to the
a
co-working.
lawyer.
So if you're in a startup in tech, yeah, startup in tech, usually
Like
you need a
there are
lawyer
so many.
advice. So yeah, yeah,
So many people doing so many things.
yeah. Mm,
So we also have travel planners in our co-working spaces, people who'd like to book trips,
yeah,
they'd
yeah.
like to. So curated travel is one of the things. So a lot of like different we have an art teacher who teaches art. She teaches painting and
Yeah, yeah,
drawing.
and I saw the other time you were doing workshops, so maybe you do workshop with them, like about art, about
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. So we keep doing workshops. People get their kids for art workshops. So it's
Really,
all kind of. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
interesting. Wow,
yeah.
that's something I've. So now, right now, I'm in Mexico, and I've been impressed. The first time I went to a restaurant, they had a playground. It's normal, a good restaurant. They had a playground for the little kids, and a nanny was
Right.
there. So
Yeah,
my
nanny
friend,
was
she
there.
was
Yeah,
with her little daughter, and she drove her daughters there, and her daughter kept on going to the playground and coming back to her table, and sometimes with a
yeah.
nanny being like, "Ah, where are you going?"
Right.
Because they like to run around. So
I
I think
think even
services
I
with
think
kids
even
can be interesting.
Yeah, I think even in some co-working spaces there are all these play areas and you know areas
Yeah,
so that
like
freelancer
a
moms or
daycare or something. I've heard of a co-working having a daycare. Yeah.
right, that's right. That's
So
right. So
you
that's
go to
also
work, you drop your kid just next door, and that's just there. You can go to lunch, check if everything's all right, and
yeah, yeah. I think it's a great concept to do that. Maybe someday we'll also do it.
you can undo everything.
Yeah.
You have to
That's
specialize
right.
at some point to something, yeah.
Yeah,
But so many
that's right.
great ideas out there, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So many great ideas. So many great ideas. So what
Uh,
are you looking forward to in your freelancing? What's your
Me?
2022 vision? Yeah.
22. I'm coming back to the basics of marketing. I see more and more we need to get a stronger foundation, When times like this hit, you need to have a big backbone which can support you. And in
Right.
marketing, that means client avatar and the client journey. Because the client
Right.
avatar is really your purpose for who you're working.
Right.
What's your mission? Who you really want to help. What's their issue? What's their pain? How do you want to solve it? That's
Right.
really questions the client avatar reply. Then the journey is more about what is that client doing.
Right.
Where are they ending? Where are they hanging online? When they have that issue you're looking to solve, where are they looking for help? Do they talk to their friends? What do they look on Google? What kind of blogs they read? What kind of YouTube channels they watch? Those kind of things. And when
Right.
you have all that listed, tuk, 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 then you know where to go to find them and how to provide them with the right information so you can really help them, educate them, so they
Wow. That's
understand
wow.
the issue and they understand how good. Another freelancer was saying how awesome your services are and how much they need actually to hire you.
Right. Amazing. That's amazing. And you're pretty consistent on posting on LinkedIn. So how do you manage that?
Well, routine and discipline is something I have for myself, so I have no issue with that. I put it in my calendar. I say if it's not, I try to put it in my calendar in my to-do list. So some tasks I just cannot put them on my calendar because I have no idea how long they're gonna take. I have an
Yeah.
idea, but when it's your calendar, after you have to move them and blah, blah, it's annoying.
Right.
I don't put them and just leave them on my to-do list. But otherwise, I try to put them in my calendar because I heard a lot. If it's not planned, it doesn't
It
exist.
won't be executed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't. I won't. So you have to look for. I was talking with another live I got. I was talking with a friend, a coach, and we're talking about Legos and Mario's. Like we have blocks. So I have blocks of time in my calendar.
Right.
Some they move, some they don't. I don't know if you've played Mario Bros before. With
I have. I have.
yeah. And there are some blocks that don't move, you can go on them. And some blocks you
Right.
just destroy them. Your calendar
Right.
is like that. There are
100%.
some blocks you cannot move them. And some
Right.
blocks you just destroy them.
Destroy them. Right. That's an amazing way to put it. Right.
It's funnier. Maybe it should look like
Yeah.
a Mario game. More people would
Right.
do time management. Who knows?
Right. That's right. More people would be inclined to do it. Yeah.
It looks fun, at least. So yeah, we were talking about the first hires. So how practically did you do it? What were you looking for as a good community manager?
So, what I've realized, and it was there from the beginning, it's not about the skills when it comes to hiring community managers. I don't look for any particular skills. It is just I hire for attitude. And based on that,
Attitude.
yeah. And I think based on that, the skills can be taught because this is a very,
True.
it's not something that can be, measured. It's not a sales job. It's a community management job, and it requires someone to have the right attitude. And I think then the person can be trained on how to manage people.
And what kind of attitude is it?
So basically, we look for people who are good with people who like being around people. They like to serve, they like to give more than they get. uh,
Yeah.
I think those are the kind of people we try to put in our center, so that when a freelancer or a professional is going through an everyday journey of highs and lows, it's an entrepreneurial journey, and so they would need that someone whom they can share their highs and lows with. So we
Mhm.
tell all our community managers that someday people are going to be good to you, but there might be days when they are not so good because their businesses are not going that well. So you have to adjust
Yeah.
accordingly. So we
Yeah.
look for those kind of people who understand the ethos of why we are doing what we are doing at Workcave,
Yeah.
who understand that it is not just someone is paying a membership and taking a space. It's not that. It's much more than that. It is helping these people do what they want to do and being with them throughout their journey.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. I had many conversation with other co-working manager about the pandemic and how it was and what they did for the members. A lot of them were
Right.
saying we just catch up, just taking the time to call them, ask them how they're doing, you know.
Right.
Even if you have to close, you cannot see them. You have to, some had to go online and they didn't like it because they like to have their physical space. As I say, we just take the time to call them, ask them how they're doing, and it's already something, you know.
Call the co-workers, call the
Yeah, call
members.
the
Yeah.
members,
Right.
take the
It
phone and
makes
call them. Wow.
See, it makes a huge difference to it. See, it's a very small thing, but it makes a huge difference because you feel that the person is not there with you just for just because you're a member, right? So I think that sense of community is very important. It requires a lot of patience, and every day you have to remind yourself. But I think eventually it comes,
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
and
Okay.
that's the only way it can be sustainable in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Yes.
So yeah, let's finish with the last questions about the co-working industry in India or in Asia and how you're seeing it. Because surely, or maybe I don't know, how much contact you have with other co-working spaces.
So yeah, I have contacts in and around India in all co-working spaces in my city and in India, and I feel that it is just exploding. Co-working industry has exploded over the past few years. Even in my city, when I started, I was the only one. There was another space that was opening, but now there are a lot of spaces, so people, more and more spaces are coming up, and it is just so
Yeah.
the culture fanny in that way is that more and more people are opting for digital work, nomad lifestyle, digital nomad lifestyle. So wherever these people will go, co-working spaces will open over there, because these it's a mutual support system. So since more and more people are opting for flexible hours, they're opting from work from homes, they're opting from, working from their favorite cities. So co-working spaces will thrive in these cities,
Hmm.
and also companies are also choosing not to
I was
take
gonna
office
ask,
space.
do you see like big companies or
Yeah.
small, medium to big companies choosing to stop leasing and start going to co-working spaces like totally, fully?
So so I don't see it happening totally right now, but there is a transition. So
Hmm.
a lot of big companies are coming to co-working spaces. We keep getting calls
Yeah.
about companies coming in.
Yeah.
So companies now are cognizant of the fact that this concept, is there, and someone who's working out
They're
of, say,
aware of it now. They know it.
they know it, and they think it's easier for them because it's hassle free for them. They can just make one negotiation, and then their team can just enjoy. They don't have to worry about anything, so it's even better for.
I was actually talking with a friend. So he was working a big French company in France, and he was saying that we're really going from a system where you had to, each department had a budget for the office office of supplies, the place to rent, etc., etc. But now
Right.
they're gathering it, and in big companies they have like their own co-working thing, and you don't have a budget for the supplies, etc. You have a price
You
per
don't
head.
need it.
So I need space for 10 people, I need space for 100 people. How much is gonna cost? And then there's
Right.
somebody else taking care of all the
All of
details.
these things.
Yeah,
All of
yeah.
these things. And
Outsourcing,
yeah, and yeah,
outsourcing. Mm,
yeah, 100%. So this is happening, and as more and more companies shift towards co-working, the co-working landscape will obviously boom because when there's demand, there's supply also increases. Uh,
yeah.
so
And I was talking about that. I was thinking, but is it because when you look at a company, I thinking in Belgium too, the state is selling their building, moving away from managing their building and leasing, all included, and paying per head. I'm thinking, but
right.
is this it looks like a short-term decision, but the guy in France was telling me, no, it's better. It's better because all the services are now aggregated, and you have economy of scale because somebody
Right.
specializing in this, in the office, in the management of the real estate and of all the services and furniture, etc.
Also, I think you can have both, right? So if a company has 500 people, if
Yeah.
a big company has 500 people,
Mm.
they can put 100 in a co-working space. The 100 that are of a relatively unimportant or new branch that they're trying to, see what's happening. So there are projects in companies that are just new, they are just testing. They can
Yeah.
put those projects in co-working spaces, and for the rest, they can have a standard office. So I think right now the answer is both fixed offices and co-working spaces.
It's really hybrid, not in the way
It's hybrid.
remote and on-site, but everything together, like in at
Yeah.
home,
So if
at the working space, at the office.
right, because if a founder is sitting, let's say in a city, and he wants his core team to be there in his office, right? I'm sure he doesn't want the other members all the time in that office. So they can maybe do a hybrid thing.
Yeah, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. I was thinking this community inside the co-working, but is there a community between co-working with other co-working managers, for example?
So I did not get that question.
It's complicated, right? So we have inside your co-working, you have a community
Hmm.
that you're managing. But with
Right.
other working spaces which are not yours, is there some kind of partnership or anything you're
Mm,
doing, like a think tank, something like that?
so
Is this
right now,
something
no.
something you're seeing or no? Everybody's
Right now,
in their
no.
corner. Mm,
I think everybody's in their corner for now.
mm,
We tried coming up with something like that pre-COVID, but I think
really?
COVID shook a lot of things up,
Yes.
and many spaces closed also. So I think it's going to take 1 year again for everybody to be stabilized, and then probably. So right now everybody's just saving their businesses and that kind of phase, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these things
We're
will come in
recovering right
once they
now, you
feel
would
that
say.
it's safe now.
Mm, mm,
Right, we're recovering.
mm. So you would say in a
But I
year,
think that
so
is, yeah, that
2023.
2023, because we tried to do that earlier also. We
Mm,
tried something like that,
mm.
but COVID like hit everyone really bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add or a question. I guess it's no. I guess it's no. Technology decided for us. So, oh, I see a question in the comment. Maybe we can take that one if we have some time. Oh, no, no. I see. Internet decided it's time to sleep here and to go somewhere else there. So the day started. But sure, if anyone has a watch this video right now or after and has a question, they can ask the question in the comment. I'm sure Vidur and I will do our best to reply in the comment too. Right?
Someone came up with a question, Fanny.
Yeah.
Vesak.
You want to
Are
take
you?
it? You're back.
I'm back. I'm back. I got
Wow.
disconnected. Sorry. Yeah.
I thought it would be me. I'm surprised I didn't
Yeah.
get to make
You,
it at all.
you told me it's going to be you, but it was me.
Yeah, like before we went live, I was like, Vidur, I'm gonna freeze. So when I freeze, just talk. And it didn't happen. I'm like,
Expect the
why did it
unexpected.
happen before? In all my other talk this week, I froze. I don't know why.
Oh,
I guess
oh.
I guess I have a good timing.
So Visak is saying, do you
Mm.
think companies will choose to work from a co-working for creating or exploring a change from their own workspace, or will completely shift in the near future? Duty opportunity of, so yeah, Visak, I think we were just discussing about that it will be both. Companies will choose to work from co-working spaces, and companies, depending on what the founders want, will also have fixed offices for their core teams, and they might have remote spaces, satellite spaces, co-working spaces for other people who'd like to. So companies, Visak, will adapt to what employees want, right? They will adapt to the needs, and they will try to make their employees feel more and more comfortable.
Mhm.
The companies would want that employees should be as productive as possible, whether they work from offices or co-working spaces. I think that doesn't matter to the company. So it's going to be both.
And challenge I've seen is all companies go back to private office. So from open space, they go to private office. So each employee have their own office, and they could have that in a co-working space. Or they do
Yes,
the flex desk. So it's not just an open space, is nobody has their own desk. And they come in and they just plug in wherever they want. And that's something also a co-working space can provide.
right. That's right. So you can have your own private office. You can plug in from your space. You can choose to come few days to a space. You don't have to take a. So it's all there in co-working spaces. It's for the company to decide how they want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, many different things, huh? We'll see where it's gonna go.
That's right. That's right. So Fanny, when you work out of co-working in your in Mexico right now, do you
Yes.
also work out of cafes? Do you also work out of home, or do you just work out of your co-working space?
No, I'm a big introvert, so I cannot work from a cafe. It's too noisy. I would be looking at stuff, doing something else. I wouldn't work. I wouldn't work. So I'm usually
Yeah.
working from home because at home I manage my space and the noise and the light, everything, so I can really focus on work and deep work. So that's why I like
Okay.
usually once a week I go to a co-working space to change, do something else, see people. Because at home
See
I'm
people.
alone. Yeah.
Right. 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 And do you, like, when you go to a co-working space, do you attend events? Since you're saying you're an introvert, I'm thinking you don't go up to people and talk to them.
Before, yeah, but I pushed myself first, and then I found really great people going to networking event, so I came to like it. I even organized some. So right now
That's awesome.
I try to go here. It's complicated because in Mexico people speak Spanish. Some people speak English, but not a lot. Some people speak French. You would be surprised. But most people speak Spanish, and my Spanish is not good enough.
Not
So
good.
me going to others speaking Spanish is something else.
That's right. But I'm sure you'll get the hang of that
Well,
when
I'm
you interact
listening a
with more
lot,
people.
and we have lunch together. That's why I like the most. I remember when I was in Sweden, everybody had lunch at the same time. There was a big table. We would all sit at the table, and most people were buying out. So they would say, "Oh, today we go to this shop," so we all go to that shop and go buy together. So that's how I ate once a big potato, like this big potato,
Right.
and it's cut in half, and they put like stuff on it. and you eat it with a spoon. And that was the lunch in Sweden.
That's
It's
awesome.
good. It,
That's
it
awesome.
is good.
That's awesome.
That's what I like the most, like discovering like little shops and just exchanging advice and having a drink or just lunch together. It's fun,
That's awesome.
even if they would
Yeah.
speak Spanish. I learn. I'm like, it's a free Spanish class for me.
Right. Got it.
Okay, well, Vidur, thank you so much. Thank you for waiting while technical issues happened and for making it with me today. And uh,
Thank
and
you so much for having me. We've been in a discussion for so long and finally we did it. I'm glad.
yeah, yeah, it's the first time. And to me, it's a success because I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it too.
I enjoyed. I enjoyed. And it's a great start to my weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much too. And I will catch up later. Maybe if there are some other questions in the comment, we'll reply. And yeah,
100%.
see you
100%. And
again.
let's do another one sometime soon.
Yes, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
All right, Fanny, have a great day. Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And see you later.